If we use social style knowledge correctly, it will enable us to empathize with the customer, understand where they're coming from, and then vary our sales technique according to their social style, so that we're selling to the customer the way the customer likes to buy, not the way we like to sell. What I'm saying to you is that every customer that comes into your shop, your premises, your showroom, will display behaviours that will indicate to you two dimensions that you can actually see and measure. The first of those dimensions is what we call their level of dominance. That is how we attempt to influence the opinions and the actions of others. I'm sure most of you will recognise that some people tend to be more dominant. That is, they tend to tell more. They tend to be reasonably fast-paced people who come in and want things right now, and they rush around. They tend to lean forward in their discussions with you. Often they'll be gesticulating by pointing and saying, I want this, I want that now. Those people are what we call the more dominant people. At the other end of the scale, and the scale is not a definitive line but a continuum, there are people who are less dominant. That is, they tend to ask more. They tend to lean back a little bit further in their conversations and communications. They tend to be just a little bit slower and more studied. They don't want to rush into a decision. They want to think and discuss what the products will or will not do. Now, if you take that dimension and put it on the line as we have done here on the chart, and then take a second dimension that we can observe, that's the dimension of expressiveness, that's the extent to which we show our feelings and moods, the more expressive people tend to emote. That is, they tend to show their feelings more openly. They tend to be more people-focused. They tend to like small talk, and they tend to show their feelings on their face. You know, their arms and their hands, their gestures. Lots of nodding and frowning and smiling, you know. But at the other end of the scale, you have the people who are less expressive. The people who are much more task-focused. People who tend to be a little bit more stoic in their appearance, a lot quieter, generally fewer gestures, and facial features, almost, if you like, poker-faced. Now, if you put those lines together with the expressiveness line on the horizontal as we have done here, what you'll see is we come up with 4 styles. And all of us have some of each style. Each of us has a major style, almost like a comfort zone. And I'd like you to just share a couple of thoughts about what these styles are so that you can spot them when they come in and realise that to deal with these different styles, you have to respond in a way that they want to be dealt with. That is to say, you have to observe what we call the platinum rule. And that's very simple. Do unto them as they would be done unto. In other words, treat them the way they would like to be treated, not necessarily the way you would like to be treated. What I'd like you to please note here is we're not talking about having different personalities. People often think that we start talking about social styles, we're talking about character or personality. This is not so. This is about the way people behave. And based on a lot of research done around the world, the best definition that I've ever heard of social style is about having a picture, an overall picture that we get of another person. Not just an isolated picture or an isolated comment or action, but a pattern of actions. If you like, a composite picture of behaviours, a number of pictures that we can see.